Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Mariam Data Science Wali and I am a student at Rehan School from Panal campus in level 1 in online academy. So today we are again doing interview with a special guest and special personality. So today my guest name is Gabby and firstly I can ask many questions in life journey and in your work experience. And thank you so much for joining us, the show, Mariam Park show, and interview. And thanks for again for giving a precious time. And hi, how are you?
So I say hi. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I really welcome the chance to speak with you. I do many of these interviews and I find them fascinating. I think most of you who do this, you really do it well. You do it to learn. You do it for a special reason. It's always a pleasure for me to do this. So I like to say hi to everybody in Pakistan. Good evening to you. Good morning here. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning here, and I'm just starting the day. I know it's the evening there. And I'd like to say hi to everybody. My name is Gabe. That's a nickname. That's what my friends call me. That's what I ask everybody to call me. I don't like sir and I don't like Mr. I've been to Pakistan 3 times. I found it fascinating. I'm really looking forward to coming back. I'm very happy to do the interview.
Okay, thank you so much. And I request you can introduce ourselves in my viewers and for me.
Sure. So again, my name is Gabe. That's a nickname, and that's what I ask everybody to call me. So right now I'm in Florida, Cocoa Beach, Florida, near Kennedy Space Center, which is what NASA. It's an amazing place to be here. I was a civil structural type of engineer for NASA for about 17 years, and I started getting a lot of international opportunities to go to schools. And I found myself I didn't have enough hours in the day to have a job and to go to school. So I kind of looked at my financial situation. I wanted to come to schools, but I didn't want to charge money. I wanted to do it just for the joy of doing it. So I kind of decided if I manage what I have decently, I can do this. So that's what I've been doing for about the last 8 years. It's been amazing. The joy of being in Pakistan. Pakistan is an amazing place to me. Of all the places I've been, and I always tell everyone my favorite place is always where I am. But Pakistan was the most, the perception I had was so negative, and when I got there, was so positive. I'm really fascinated with the people in Pakistan, and all the great friends I have there.
Okay, thank you so much for giving a beautiful introduction. And so we can start with the questions. And my first question is from NASA to the USA Air Force Special Operations Command. What were the most thrilling movements of your career?
So to me, I try to tell everybody, every day is an adventure for me, and it makes no difference where I am or what I'm doing. I try to approach the same way. So in special ops, I had a really cool job where I was traveling literally around the world, going to special ops units who were had a mission, and their facilities and the buildings and all this stuff was run down, and they had a different mission. So I would go there as an engineer and help just get the facilities fixed and everything for them. So I got to travel all over the world. It was the most a fun thing I'd ever done. I went to so many countries. I met so many people. It was awesome. And then when I got out of the Air Force, I got a job at Kennedy Space Center working for NASA, and it was even more magical. I mean, there was ships going to space. There was so much history of the space program. I just feel very, very fortunate, and I approach everything the same. I have 3 things I talk about: do your best, enjoy what you do, believe in yourself. So my first job was at McDonald's. So it didn't matter whether it was working at McDonald's or at NASA or special ops. I approach everything the same way. How well can I do this? How can I enjoy it? And everything is a challenge. So each is an individual challenge. Each to me is great sense of accomplishment. So for me, I really don't think being at one place is different than another if you have the right mental approach to everything.
Okay, that's great, and you can answer very better. So my next question is, aerospace and engineering demand precious, but inspiration often comes from unexpected place. What the most unusual movement?
Well, that's a very interesting question. For me, uh, I have my best friend is blind, and we do triathlons together. And that means we swim, bike, and run. We do three athletic events, but I get more inspiration from him than anybody. And just thinking about him, someone who's blind and does everything, someone who's blind and doesn't feel sorry for himself, someone who's blind and tries to help others. I think this is a special kind of source of inspiration that no matter what preceded it in my life, or no matter what comes after in my life, I don't think anything will inspire me the way he has and does now. And I just spoke with him yesterday. So uh, I always remind myself, if I feel like I'm in a difficult situation or I feel poor me, I'm struggling, I can see. I always say, look, you can see. How lucky are you that you can see? So this is the greatest inspiration for me. And I take it with me every minute of every day. And we should all understand how thankful we are that we can see, that we can walk. So many people can't, and so many kids can't. And it's not their faults. They were born this way, and or something genetically happened to them, or they had an accident. And for those of us who don't have to deal with that on a day-to-day basis, or even our children, most of the times in these situations, the kids deal with it. It's their life. They accept it. But parents really, really struggle. So I'm constantly reminding myself to be thankful. And anytime I have any doubts, I say to myself, I can see. And this is a great motivation for me.
Okay, thank you so much for answering. And my next question is, if a student came to you today and said, I want to work at NASA, what's the first thing you tell them to do?
Well, first, you have to speak English very well. Most everyone in Pakistan does. I don't think it's a problem for people in Pakistan. I've been there, and most people speak English well enough. But if you really want to work for NASA, your biggest challenge, not only in Pakistan, but everywhere outside of America, you have to be an American citizen. So if you want to do this badly enough, there's a way. It may take time. It may take 20 years. It's okay. But you have to understand, if this is something you want to do, it will take time. So you have to be an American citizen. How do you become an American citizen? Well, you have to live here, establish residency. Well, how do you get here? The best way is through university. America has great international exchange programs, and if you can get here to a university, go to school for university for 4 years, and then after 4 years, try to stay and establish residency. That's the start. That's the biggest challenge you've overcome. And then after that, you establish residency, you get experience, and you apply to go to NASA. It's it's a long process. A lot of people want to go to NASA, and there aren't many opportunities, so there's no guarantees. But for me, I always say, look, if that's what you want to do, challenge yourself to do it. And I talk about those three things: enjoy what you do your best, enjoy what you do, believe in yourself. So let's say your dream is to go to NASA. Okay, this is something I want to do. Well, you have to say to yourself, okay, I'm here. How do I get there? What steps do I take? So the first thing, I have to go to university. Then I have to stay in America. So you plan these steps, but you plan the steps very, very small. Don't be in a hurry. Enjoy the adventure, enjoy the journey. And no matter what happens, you will have a good journey. And when you get there, sometimes it's not what you think. And NASA's amazing, but in 20 years, there's going to be commercial companies, there's going to be other countries. You don't necessarily have to go to NASA to achieve what you think you would like to do, which probably is being a science field or something like that. There are many opportunities, but that was the first thing I'd say. Okay, Take your time, understand it's possible, but it's going to take a lot of time. But either way, you're going to pass through that time. So if you're past doing it, trying to enjoy what you do every day and achieving your goal, it's fine. Don't be in a hurry.
Okay, that's wonderful. So my next question is, if you could add one technological advancement to past NASA missions, what would it be and how would it have changed history?
Wow. Well, within NASA, there have been three major uh, casualties. One was Apollo on the pad caught fire, three astronauts died. Then was Challenger going up. There was a leak in the fuel delivery system. Seven astronauts died. And then coming back, Columbia had a problem with the tile, and it burned up. So if I could do anything, it would be to go back to those incidents and say, look, don't do this, or prepare to do this better. You always learn. I think that's the issue is you learn, and with space exploration, it's very dangerous. It's gotten downwards fairly good, but it's still dangerous and it's still learning as you go. And sometimes the only way you learn is through, when things don't go as expected. I never say failure. We never fail, even with a Challenger explosion, even with those things we didn't fail, we learned, and we try to take that knowledge forward with us and prevent it from happening again. If I could go back, any disaster in the world, not only at NASA, I hate to see people suffering and hurting, and if I could do anything to stop all of that, I would love to stop wars. I would love to stop hatred. I would. I don't know why we can't get along. It's really sad. I use India and Pakistan as a great example. India and Pakistan, you are the same people. You come from the same source, yet some reason the government says convince you you can't get along, and it's really sad because you are so much alike, and together you could do so much. But it's just typical to me. If I could go back and do anything, I would try to. Uh, with this within NASA, try to solve those three major things that really killed so many people.
Okay, so my next question is, if an aspiring engineer wanted to stand out and get noticed by NASA, what's the one skill or mindset they absolutely needed?
So my view would be to be able to express yourself well, to have confidence in yourself, to believe in yourself. And when you get an interview or you have an opportunity to speak with someone, you present yourself in a way that they look at you and they say, this person would be a good leader. This person would be a good team member. This person would be somebody who would make us better. And if you can get that into the interview, I think it will help you in anything, just not at NASA. But the most important thing is that you're able to present yourself with confidence, and you're able to say that, hey, look, I'm a good team person. To me, everything is about helping each other, working together, and you need to be a good leader. And to me, the only way you can do that is to relate to those around you and to try to make the lives of everyone better. I think if you do that, that's so important. But to me, that's what I would recommend. You need that confidence and that belief in yourself, and you project that. And in an interview, any job, if you can have the person interviewing you come away thinking, wow, this person will make us better, and we want this person with us, then to me, you've achieved your goal.
Okay, so my next question is, working in aerospace requires problem solving under pressure. Can you share a movement where you had to think fast to overcome major challenges?
Uh, I don't know about thinking fast, but I think you certainly have to be able to look at any situation and look at it and say, okay, I'm in this situation. How do I solve it? What do I do? And try to go through your mind all of the different scenarios and try to pick something that's good. As far as a specific one, I am a civil structural type of engineer. So I'm not involved in building rockets. I'm not involved in building, launching rockets. And most of the things I do are with roads and bridges and roofs and air conditioning systems. There's really nothing life critical that I do compared to many people in an aerospace industry. As a civil structural engineer, if I was in Karachi as a civil structural engineer, I would do the same thing as I do here. You deal with the buildings, you deal with roads, you deal with the same thing. It's not that it's not something exciting and elaborate, but it usually doesn't affect people's lives. So nothing is that challenge, life threatening to me. But everything is approached the same. How well can I do this? How can I get this done as quickly and as efficiently as possible? And you find yourself in all kinds. My job, typically, I might go into work in the morning and they would say, "Hey, Gabe, a bridge isn't working." Florida is a peninsula, which means it's surrounded by water on three sides. Much of the flight hardware that comes to NASA comes through a train or comes by road. And because there's so much water, they have to go over bridges. So if the bridges aren't working, you can't get the flight hardware to the Space Center, you can't launch missions. So it's all critical. So if I go in, "Hey, Gabe, this bridge isn't working," I have to go to the bridge, wherever it is, talk to the bridge tender, person that's opening and closing the bridge. Why isn't this thing working? We have to figure it out. We have to figure out how to fix it and how much it costs. So those kinds of things are kind of fun. I don't think any of them you'll really classify as life threatening, but mission critical to a degree. And and I think it doesn't matter to me. You want to approach everything the same way. You want to do your best. You want to enjoy what you do and believe in yourself. And if you approach everything with those kinds of things, you're going to do fine. And whether it's life threatening or not, it doesn't matter to me. You have to approach it the same way.
Okay, your answer is very amazing. So my next question is, as a former contractor and engineer at Kennedy Space Center, what's one behind the scenes stories that most people wouldn't know about NASA?
Uh, I think most people around the world have this fascination with NASA that it's so special and it's just a magical place. And for me, it really is. And I think what most people imagine is for me. But I think many people would be surprised to understand that most people working at NASA treat it as a job, just like any job. They go in at 8 o'clock in the morning, they leave at 5, and they go home, and they don't really think about I'm at NASA. They don't think about this, magical environment. They think, it's work. I have to come in and go to work, and I don't like going to work. So I don't like being here. I can't wait till the weekend so I can do what I want. And I think that's really, really sad. I think that's one of the reasons I go to schools, and one of the reasons I try to give a different perspective on life is because, to me, what I saw at NASA with people complaining about working hard. And they would come in on Monday and say, "Oh, I have to work. I can't wait till Friday." And I would say, "Look, this is not work. It's fun. How can you call this work?" "Oh, it's work and it's hard. And I want to be home where I can do what I really enjoy." So I started listening to this and I thought, well, what's wrong with these people? Why can't they see how much great opportunity? We're here at Kennedy Space Center. We're in Florida. The weather is great. We're making really good money. Everything about our lives is good. Why are they so negative? And I came to the conclusion it's learned behavior. When they were growing up, they were taught you must work hard, stress and pressure, and working is not something as much fun as being away from work. And so they don't like being at work. And so I thought, well, why am I different? Why am I enjoying it so much? And I just realized it was the way I was looking at things. So I said, okay, maybe I can speak with kids like you, and I can say to you, look, Miriam, you have a choice. You don't have to work. Nothing has to be hard. You can be very successful, have fun with no stress, no pressure, if you just think about it differently. You can do the same thing the same way. You just want to change your thought process. And I think that's what few people would realize, that for many people at NASA, because so many people have this fascination, they want to go there. They can't imagine people being there and not really liking it, and me either. I can't imagine it either. But sadly, it's learned behavior, and I hope when speaking with you, and if I get a chance to meet you in Karachi, we can talk about this more. But you want to learn to enjoy everything you do. Anybody can do something. Can you enjoy it? It's never the challenge to do it, it's the challenge to enjoy doing it. And if you can learn to enjoy doing it, make it fun, it will never be work. It will never be hard if you develop that belief in yourself. So these are the three things I talk about most. And I think that would probably be the most shocking thing for many people to think, wow, they're at NASA, they're at Kennedy Space Center, and they're not happy.
Okay, your answer is very nice. And my next question is, winning the NASA Speakers Inspire Award is a huge achievement. What's your secret to captivating and inspiring young minds?
I think the main thing for me when I speak at schools or even speaking with you, I have to relate to you. I have to let you know that I care. One of the reasons I tell students, I don't get paid when I go to schools. I don't ask for money. I just ask for the opportunity to let you know I really care, and I want you to have a better life. And I only do it because for me, I think kids' life should be fun. I think everything you do should be fun. You want to learn to feel good about yourself. This is so important. So many girls are so self critical. They never feel good about themselves. It's not Pakistan, it's everywhere in the world. And many guys are self critical too because they don't earn enough money. But for girls, always self critical. Most girls have been taught if you feel good about yourself, you're conceited. And this is wrong. And so most girls are extremely self critical. You have to learn to feel good about yourself. You have to look in the mirror and say, hey, I look good. I'm okay. Doesn't mean you think you're better than somebody else. It just means you feel good about how you are. If you do and you believe in yourself, you stand up taller, you project that, you smile more. It's so important for me that I let you know, hey, look, it's okay to feel good about yourself. That I always tell people, look, that's why I ask you to call me my Gabe. That's what my friends call me. I want you to look at me that way, not as an adult or not as somebody who's different than you. Somebody maybe you can learn from, and I can learn from you. And if I can make this connection, this is so important. But it's up to me to make the connection with you. I have to let you know, hey, feel comfortable with me. I don't, I'm no different than you. And it has gone extremely well. I do the presentation. I talk about how I hated school and how I struggled with life, school, and really had a hard time growing up. And many students, they think, wow, he's like me, and look at him now. He's at NASA. So, you know, I want everyone to know, look, if I can do this, so can you, and that I'm no different. And I think somehow I can't explain it. If you said to me, Gabe, write it down. Why do you have this connection with kids? I can't, but I feel it, and it's equal. And I know every time I'm with the kids, we have this great connection, and it's just magical for me, and it's magical for them. And as long as it stays that way, I think I will be able to be a positive influence, and that's really what I want.
Okay, so my next question is, what's a challenge you faced in your career that made you a stronger leader?
I think everything is a building process, and I don't know if you can isolate it to one incident. I think, first of all, as a leader, to me, you have to be able to relate to others. You really have to care about others. There are many people in leadership positions who are not good leaders, but they've gotten there. And the idea to me as a leader, you have to be someone who cares about people. You have to be someone who is willing to say to you, look, I trust you, do what you want, I will support you. And at the same time, have an ability to everybody to have a common goal, and to understand together we can do more than individually, and success is equal for everybody. It doesn't matter where you are in the team. everybody is equal. And to me, those are the biggest challenges with being a leader. So every time you find yourself in a situation, I was in Germany and I was at a special organization and they had sent me, we have two people, one is in Israel and one is in Egypt, and they're having problems with where they're living. Can you go fix this? So I'm an engineer. How do I know about fixing where people live? And many people before me had tried it and everybody failed. So they said, well, you try it. So I said, okay, I'll go try it. The first thing when I got there, I went to the people who were having problems and I said to them, how would you fix it? And they told me. It made sense. I went back and I told them how to fix it and it was fixed. And they made me to be this really special person. But all I did was ask the people who I felt would have the best knowledge. Where other people went in there, I know more than anybody else. I'm going to talk to the people at the top. They never talked to the people who were actually living it, and so they never came up with a solution. And so for me, it's a learning experience. Always willing to relate to others. It doesn't matter to me what their position is or your position. If I'm talking to you, Mariam, and we talk about things, I feel I can learn from you. And the questions you've asked me, honestly, some of them have been very unique and different from any I've ever been asked before. And every time you do that, it makes me think and I learn a little bit. So I feel to me everything is about, a building process. And then if you're always willing to listen, to me, in order to learn, you have to do three things. First, you have to listen, and then you have to evaluate, and then you have to adapt. And if you're willing to do those three things, you can learn. And for me, I try to do that all of the time. But I think it's a building process. I don't think there's any one specific. That incident was a building block for me to go forward because people had seen me do something nobody else could do. But I just did it. I just asked the people who I thought would have the best answer, where others went in there thinking they knew more than anybody and they were going to find a solution on their own, and they couldn't.
Okay, that's great and awesome. So my next question is, if you could name the next space mission, what would you call it?
I guess it would depend on what it was going and where it was doing. Now we have a mission going to the moon and going to Mars called Artemis. And Artemis is really special because uh, when men went to the moon for NASA under Apollo was the Greek god who loved the moon. And so only men went under Apollo. Artemis is his twin sister. So under Artemis, women are going to go to the moon for the first time. So I really like the name of the Artemis mission, but I would probably try to have it something about uh, achieving goals or something related to women and people in space who've never been there before. But it would have to be something that would be, the name of my presentation that I do is called To Infinity and Beyond. And and I really like this name. It was actually given to me by a friend at NASA. She said, why don't you call it this? So I think To Infinity and Beyond, I think it's kind of cool way to look at things, even though it's the name of my presentation. Uh, I think it just opens up endless opportunities. So I might call it To Infinity and Beyond.
Okay, so my next question is, if you had only 5 minutes so to inspire a group of students to pursue aerospace careers, what would you say? That's questions.
Well, first of all, to me, uh, I wouldn't try to get anybody to pursue a career they didn't really want. So these individuals either have to want to do it or think they would want to have to do it. But I always say to them, aerospace to me opens up many doors. It's exploring things that have never been explored before. They have aeronautical engineering and aerospace engineering, and aerospace engineering is more to do with building planes and building ships and things like that. But to me, I think the fascination of doing something I would love to do that type of job. I like to build things. I like to do things. I like to see products. But I would say to everybody, If you're thinking in whatever field you're in, if you think you're interested in and do it, approach it this way: do your best, enjoy what you do, believe in yourself. It does not matter what it is. Find ways to enjoy it. The more fun you have doing it, the easier it will be, the longer you remember. Always do your best. Doesn't matter what it is, do your best. Challenge yourself. How well can I do this? And feel good about your effort. Enjoy everything you do. You can do this interview with me and you can have fun, or you can be miserable. Either way, you're going to do it. If you want to enjoy it, you will. Learn to enjoy everything the same. It's easy to enjoy something you like. The challenge is to something you think you don't like and enjoy it just as much as something you do. And you can do that just by changing your mental approach. And the most important thing in achieving anything is believing in yourself. Very few people have it. That's why they have stress. That's why they have pressure. They just don't believe in themselves. It doesn't matter how successful they are, doesn't matter how much money, they just don't have that belief in themselves. How do you get that belief in yourself? You have to establish goals. And when you have a goal, usually it starts with a dream. You take that dream, you write it down, you say, this is my goal. And you ask yourself, what steps do I take to achieve it? And you plan very small steps. The easier the step, the easier it is to accomplish. Easier it is to accomplish helps you build that belief and that confidence in yourself. And you build and you build and you build, and don't be in a hurry. You go slowly till one day you say to yourself, I can do anything. When you believe you can do anything, I promise you, you'll never have stress. You'll never have pressure. You just believe you can do it and you go do it. And when you have fun doing it, you're doing it better. So whether it be aerospace or aeronautical or any type of career, I always offer the same thing. Learn to develop that belief in yourself. Learn to enjoy everything you do. Challenge yourself to do your best. And I promise you, you'll be very successful and you'll have a lot of fun with life.
Okay, so my next question is, what's the biggest lesson you learn from managing people?
Yeah, everybody's different. I think when you manage people, you have to treat everybody different. You can treat everybody the same in a fair way, but you have to understand the different variables and why people do. My thought is always, how can I learn to think like they do? How can I follow their thought process? How can I don't evaluate it or judge it. I just try to learn to think what causes them to do the things they do. And if I can do that, maybe I can fit into them a little bit better. And you always want to offer people suggestions. To me, you never want to say, do this. Have you thought about trying this? Try this instead. See how it works. Give yourself opportunities to try different things. You never fail. So often people are afraid to do something new because they think they won't do well and they think they're going to fail. But we never fail. We always learn. And to me, it's important you learn that, hey, just because it didn't come out the way I thought doesn't mean I failed. I learned. You take that knowledge forward with you. You apply it to the next decision. So that's what I think is the most important for me is to be able to relate to people and to treat everybody fairly, but understand you cannot treat everybody exactly the same as far as their life experiences, their desires, their ambition. The main thing is, how can you get everybody to come together as a team? Each one have a role. Each role is important. And in the end, everyone is successful. And that's, to me, the biggest thing I try to do is relating and managing people.
Okay, thanks for answering, Gabby. And my next question is, what was your biggest interest or passions growing up?
Yeah. So my biggest passion growing up was going to the beach. I love going to the beach and I love playing sports. So when I was growing up, I hated school. I really hated school because I wanted to be at the beach and I wanted to be outside playing sports. So I really, really struggled with school and I had a hard time with it. But yeah, for me, it was going to the beach and playing sports. I think this would be my life. I'm just a beach bum, somebody hanging out at the beach and playing sports on the beach. I did go to the beach when I was in Pakistan too. I went to the beach not far from Karachi, and it was really fun. It was, I'm not sure exactly what it was, but the sand was black and the water was really, really warm. But I was in Pakistan, I think, in October, and we did go to the beach in Pakistan.
Okay, so my next question is, what's one book, podcast, or TED talk that profoundly influenced your mindset?
You know, I don't like to read, which is negative. I never like to read because when I went to school, they forced me to read. Podcasts and these kinds of things. I don't know. To me, I've kind of developed a way of looking at things, and growing up, I had a couple of uncles that I used to look at, and they always seemed to have fun with life. And I remember thinking, I kind of want to be like them when I grow up. I want to enjoy life. I would look around, I'd see many people miserable and complaining, and I saw them having fun, and I didn't know how to do that. Uh, I think it's just a combination of many, many things. But for me, it's none of those things you really mentioned because I'm really not into that. It's my interface with people. I feel like I learn from everybody I meet, and my interface with people, I think, is the most important thing for me. I really are. I learn by doing. If someone says, "Hey, you have to do this," here's a book, read about it. I don't want to read about it. Here's a podcast, watch it. I don't want to watch it. Show me, give it to me, show me how to do it, and I'll learn this way. So the things you talk about, many people use them and use them well. But I really have never enjoyed doing that kind of stuff. And so I really can't pinpoint one thing from that. But I learn from you. I learn from everybody I meet, and I try to take that knowledge and apply it to the next situation.
Okay, thanks for answering. So my next question is, what has been the most unexpected lesson you learned in your whole career?
You ask, you really ask some interesting questions. Uh, I don't know if I can pinpoint any one thing. I think there were incidents like when I went to Israel and Egypt where I really didn't have any idea what I was going to do. And when I got there, it was so simple. I guess I didn't expect it to be so simple, but for me, I think I made it simple by just going to people. And I look back on that over and over, and I think of all the people who went before me and all of the people who were supposedly super smart and super knowledgeable and came back with nothing and had been happening for years. So when I went thinking, I don't know how I'm going to solve this. I don't know anything about housing or any of this, and but they said you got to go fix it. So I think at the ease at which I was able to fix it and the common sense approach to the solution to me was great. I don't know why anybody before me didn't do the same thing. But I think that's probably, I look back on that incident, it was really critical in my advancement in the military where I was at that time, because I had done something nobody had done before and done it easily. But I think that kind of stands out to me as one of the critical changing points. When I talk about doing your best, you will understand when you become an adult and you have a job or you have a profession, there are going to be times in that profession you don't know when, you don't know how, but something is going to happen and you're going to have to do your best to be successful. If you practice doing your best all the time, when that happens, you're going to do fine. You're going to just do your best. If you don't practice that all of the time, when you get there, you may be afraid, you may be scared, and you may mess up. Oh, so I say it's so critical. Just learn to do your best. I went to Egypt and I went to Israel not having a clue what I was going to do. The first thing, I went to the people with a problem. How would you fix it? They live there. They know all the solutions. They know, why would I not talk with them and see what, at least what their view was? And they had answers right away in both countries. It was really interesting. They were separate issues, but they both had answers, and I was able to solve it very, very quickly. So I think that was unexpected at the ease at which I found the solution. But I think it was more of the normal common sense approach to it that enabled me to do that.
Okay, that's very wonderful answer. And my next question is, How do you inspire and motivate others in your field?
Well, others in the field, one of the things issues I had was I had people working around me at Kennedy Space Center who I thought were very, very smart, very intelligent, very capable, yet they were always complaining. They this hard work and everything was bad. And I used to say to them, look, you are so smart, you are so talented. Why are you struggling doing this? They didn't have that belief in themselves. So I try to get, with adults, it's very challenging to try to get adults to change something. If they're used to doing it a certain way, even if they're miserable, they don't want to change because they don't have the confidence to do something they've never done before. They're afraid to fail and are afraid to think they're going to fail. So they stick with what they know, even though they don't like it. And so it's all I can do is offer suggestions. If I see somebody struggling, I had one buddy, he was a mechanical engineer. He was a great engineer. He was actually from Vietnam. And he very smart guy, and he struggled every day with stress, depression. His name was Fu. I say, Fu, you're so good at this. Why are you struggling so much? Why do you have all this stress and all this pressure? You're so good. And he would just, oh, it's just the way it is. I'm all, and he never would be willing to change. And so all I can do is offer suggestions. With students like you, you're more willing, and women are more willing to listen than guys. Most guys have something fixed in their head, and especially as adults, you cannot get them to change. But women and girls are more willing to listen, at least listen, and then see if it makes sense to them. So the biggest thing we're trying to motivate others at and as adults is letting them understand you can do it differently and be successful. It doesn't happen very often. It's much better for me with kids. And my favorite age with kids is like 8 to 10. 8 to 10, they're very curious, they're very knowledgeable, they want to learn, and they haven't been subjected to so much negativism that they have to unlearn something to learn something new. And I think the longer you stay in a certain mindset, the more challenging it is for you to leave that mindset and go to something else, even if you think it's better. You're as secure in that world as miserable as you may be, but you know how to cope with it. And many people don't have the confidence to leave it and do something new, even if it's better. So the challenging with motivating others is just to get them to listen and try to. But all I do is offer suggestions. If they're not willing to listen, I walk away and move on to something else.
Okay, so my next question is, what was your first impression of Rihan School?
Rayhan School was really interesting. I was writing paper to this before I went to Rayhan School. And I found out I was going to Pakistan and I was going to uh, Islamabad and I was going to Lahore. And I said, well, I would like to go to Rayhan School in Karachi because I've been writing with these kids and I would like to meet them and I would like to see them in person. So something happened. I had a couple of extra days, so I was able to go to Karachi to Rayhan School. Well, my first impression was, wow, this is really amazing. But I didn't get to do much in the school. I was there for 2 days, and I think I only got to speak with the students for maybe 1 hour in those 2 days. The rest of the time, I was doing interviews and crazy things I did not want to do, but that's what they had me doing. But my first impression was the students are so kind and so smart and just so much fun to be around. That was my first impression. When I went back a second time, I was able to spend 2 or 3 days, and I had an amazing time with you all. And you are awesome. I just think the Rayhan School gives you opportunities you would never have. I think Rayhan School teaches you to get along. It teaches you so many things. I think the opportunities provided to you at Rayhan School are very, very special. And I think everyone there seems to be so appreciative and so willing to do whatever it takes to be successful. And I know these interviews are important for you. You have to do so many interviews, and I always accept every interview. And so, yeah, my first impression of Rehan School was very limited, but in follow up trips, I really enjoy it, and I really think it's extremely beneficial for students who probably would have no chance at all if they were not at Rehan School.
Okay, that's nice. And my next question is, how has your journey at the Rehan School shaped your skills and knowledge?
I don't isolate Rehan School from everything else. So I just came back from Norway. When I was in Norway, I spoke at about 15 schools. And one thing I've learned, I've been to 18 countries around the world. And what I've learned more than anything else is how much we are alike. I mean, we are identical. Kids are identical. It doesn't matter the country, it doesn't matter the culture. Kids at Rehan School are just like kids in Norway in a lot of ways. When I look in your eyes, I see this really magical thing in your eyes. I see your smiles. I see the way you interface with each other. It's so amazing. And I think the thing with Rehan School is so much of you do the exact same thing, the exact same way. You're really alike, and how you interface with each other is it seems to be very, very special. That you really care about each other. Uh, I reminded me a little of Sri Lanka. When I went to Sri Lanka, I saw this very special connection that students have with each other, and I think it was unique for that. But I really enjoyed the kids around school. We had so much fun, and the last time I was there, I had like four students who went everywhere I went, and even Rehan's son, he went. Michael, he went everywhere we went, and I just had a wonderful time. But I have this with students all over the world, and I'm very, very thankful for it. I get so much from it.
Okay, that was very amazing. And my next last question is, if you have any, if you have give any advice for me and my viewers, so tell me about it, little
Uh,
advice.
So my advice to you and everyone listening, three things: do your best, enjoy what you do, believe in yourself. It's so important. Learn those three things. Doing your best is easy. Just challenge yourself to do your best. Enjoy everything you do. This is a little more challenging, but you can find positives in everything. And if you can't find a positive, you say to yourself, it could be worse. Then it becomes a positive. Never have a negative experience and learn to believe in yourself. It's so important. How can you expect others to believe in you if you don't believe in yourself? How can you expect others to care for you if you don't care for yourself? These things are so important. Establishing goals. You have to, I know Rehan School is really good about establishing goals. You have to have goals. Why do I get up in the morning? Why do I do something? If you don't have a goal, there's really no reason. So establish your goals and plan small steps to achieve them. Build that belief in yourself slowly and that confidence in yourself slowly till you reach a point when you say to yourself, I can do anything. When you believe that, your life is so much fun. And that's my advice, always my advice. And the reason I do these, I try to share that every opportunity I can.
Okay, your is very amazing, and that's my interview with nice person and nice man, Gabby. And this is my mystery interview, and I can announce it as interview with Gabby Gablin, and I hope we are like this interview, and we can learn many things in this interview. So we can leave it and end it the interview. So bye and take care.
Okay. Before you
Okay,
leave,
before you leave,
I just want you to
I
give a
just
big
want you to
smile.
give a big smile.
Ready? Big
Ready?
smile.
Big smile.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
And thanks
Beautiful
again
evening.
for
I'm off to enjoy the day.
okay, thanks again for joining us and giving a precious time. And take care. Bye.
Bye bye, everybody.